Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Honest Apostates. I'm Eli Slack, and I'm here to introduce to you my good friend and co host, Tracy Wilbert. Tracy, say hello to everybody.
Hi.
Is that how you're supposed to do that?
That is how I do it. I don't know about supposed to.
I did something different. Um, so, Tracy, firstly, what is your idea here for the Honest Apostates? What's your goals?
My goals are to get big and make money. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I like having the conversation about beliefs generally, regardless of what they are. I like having conversations about why I hold beliefs, why other people hold beliefs, if I should, if and if their held beliefs are on better ground than mine, I would like to know that. I would, if I'm wrong, I want to know. And so I like having the conversation. I like being part of the conversation because just listening in doesn't quite get me there. I like to be part of things, and there's a lot going on in our world that I disagree with, and people hold a lot of positions that I disagree with, and they don't seem to be entirely forthcoming about their whys and wherefores. So I would like to get out my whys and wherefores,
Mhm.
and they can get mad and say, well, here are my whys and wherefores, and they're better than yours because blah, 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 blah. And if they are in fact better than mine because of blah, 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 then I want to know that. And I think this is the best way to go about doing that. I also just like investigating things, and this is a topic that I'm very interested in. The topic, of course, being theology and epistemology, but that's another thing.
Yeah, and epistemology being the why. Why do you think what you think? Sort of.
Exactly.
Yeah. No. Fair enough. So, as a co-host on the Honest Apostates, you yourself are as well an apostate. Then, is that accurate to say?
It's more than accurate to say. Uh, I am a former Catholic. I
I'm sorry.
was very well versed in the Catholic exercise, and I forgive you. But I was very well versed in the Catholic exercise, did it for a great many years. Uh, come to find out in my adult years that I didn't really know anything about Catholicism my entire childhood. So I went and I investigated it, and I found it to be wacky and just a little bit on the silly side. And I was like, well, just because something's wacky and a bit on the silly side, that doesn't necessarily mean it's not true. So I went and I investigated. I can go into more detail, but I went and I investigated, and I found that I couldn't stay in the faith I was raised with. And I went out and I investigated a few other ones, and then I was like, well, there's far too many for me to do an actual in-depth investigation of absolutely every faith. So what I'm instead going to do is I'm going to stand back, and I'm going to be a neutral party. Isn't exactly accurate, but I'm going to have a neutral position where I'm just going to sit back and I'm going to be like, look, I don't buy any of this until you bring me, you being the people who hold these beliefs, until you bring me a good reason to believe in it. I'm not going to. And I'm only doing that because that will maintain my consistency above on everything else. If someone comes up to me and says, hey, there's a dragon in Illinois, I'm going to say, all right, well, I don't believe that until you give me a reason to believe that. Same thing, and I hold that same thing for not even just my beliefs, but also the decisions I make in my life. For instance, if somebody tries to sell me a car, they need to come up with reasons I want the car. Not, I don't need to come up with reasons that the car isn't good enough for me to buy. They
Mhm.
need the reasons for me to buy it. So like that's about where I sit on my apostate status.
Apostasy.
I'm on my apostasy. Yes.
Yeah, there you go. So would there be anything then that you find particularly harmful about either the religion you grew up in, or how you understood it, or religion in general, that is more, is it more for you, just is it I just don't buy into this, or is it I think this is harmful, and there are some aspects in which this needs to be changed?
Well, an important distinction I'd like to make is that a thing can be a belief state can be harmful while also being true. So it's not so much important to me. I mean, it is important to me that the harm not be perpetuated. However, if that harmful thought or belief is in fact true, then it would still be one that I think that a person ought hold, even if it would be harmful. For instance, it would be harmful to my psychological state. Let's just say that it would be harmful to my psychological state for me to think that I have cancer. But if I have cancer, it is helpful. It's harmful to my psychological state, but helpful to my well-being to
Okay,
know that that is in fact the case.
I'm with you.
So if we're just talking about psychological harm, I prioritize truth over psychological comfort. If we're talking about well-being, I can't find an instance where believing a true thing would be harmful to your well-being. I can't find an instance of that.
Right.
If that in fact exists, I'd love to be disabused of my notion, but I can't find one so far.
Fair. Yeah.
In terms of specifics for the faith I came out of, I think that the idea that we are all born, the concept of inherited sin,
Mhm.
that you are responsible for some nudists in an act of disobedient fruit munching thousands of years ago, is somehow my fault, that I'm held to account for that.
Yeah.
I think that is patently evil, and we've seen how holding generational guilt over the years harms people and harms societies, and so I don't want to do that anymore. Now, that's not the only one. That's not the only case in which that is harmful. The idea that we are all bad, that no one is a good person. Now, I will agree that no one is perfectly good. But if we're talking on, like, if we're
There's a
talking about
curve.
coffee, yeah, it's a
Right.
curve. I was going to use a coffee analogy, but I'm going to step away from that. It's a curve here. Some people will, if I do like 5% bad things in my life and 95% good things, you would be very hard pressed to say I were a bad person.
Right.
If I have a
Those
car,
5% of witnesses might have
now
a
those
different story.
5%, yes. And I think that's just that's a very bad way to look at the world. If I look at at a towel and 5% of the towel is wet, I can't justifiably say that the towel is wet. The
Right.
towel is primarily dry.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that and that connects a little bit with one of my basic understandings of people, is that nobody thinks they're a bad guy. No, I mean, some people do, but for the most part, people in their operations think they're doing the right thing,
Mm-hmm.
because no one has ever come forth and said, yes, I'm an evil man. No, everybody is self-professed that they think they're doing the right thing. And if everybody is trying to be good, then surely some people are, if not succeeding, at least getting closer. So I cannot operate in my life assuming that everybody is bad. I cannot operate in my life assuming that, yes, they say that they believe in God. Like that was a thing that, in the Christian framework, there are Christians who purport to be Christians but actually aren't. Now that is
Mm-hmm.
true. That is a true statement, that there
Yeah.
are people who profess to hold a belief but don't in fact actually.
Mm-hmm.
However, in operation, in uh, in acting, I cannot look at an individual and say, well, yes, they say they believe in God, but do they really? I
Right.
wait until they show me that they're lying.
Yeah.
I operate as though everyone is telling me the truth to the best of their ability, but that they are just doing what they can to describe their experience, not necessarily report accurately what has happened. So I can't have the ingrained distrust of other people that is built uh, into nearly every religion I've found, that you can't believe when somebody tells you they are a believer that they actually are. This was something that was very harmful to me during my deconstruction, is that, like, as I would read the book and I would listen to things, I eventually got to this point where, like, well, I can't know that my priest is actually a believer. I can't know that my mother is actually a believer. I can't know that anybody is a believer. I can only know that which I am. I can't, to the extent that to which we can know things. Um, and so that was very harmful to me because it kept me from reaching out. Because the only person you should reach out to with questions about God, at least according to the Christian framework, is God. You ask God
Mm-hmm.
about God. You don't go ask man, because you don't know if that man is actually a believer, if they actually know anything about it.
Right.
I would go to God and I would get no answers over and over and over and over and over and over again. So I was just stuck, me,
Funny how that
with a
works.
book. It was me and a book. I
Yeah.
had a book. And so I would just read the book, and I took that to be what God was saying to me. That led to a whole bunch of problems in my life, as well as with my physical well-being and emotional well-being.
Mm.
And eventually I learned to deal with those issues and live a healthier life for both my mind and my body. I got through all that through a lot of pain and a lot of struggle, and I got to a point where I was living comfortably. That living comfortably was built off of ignoring a lot. I was ignoring the basic facts of evolution and how they conflicted with my Bible. I accepted
Mm-hmm.
evolution. I accepted it, but
Yeah.
I didn't really think about how that conflicted with the Bible. I was just like, yeah, the Bible. I did the classic thing of the science asks how questions and religion asks why questions,
Yeah.
when in fact that isn't the case. They both ask what questions, and they conflict in a lot of places. I'm sorry, I've been going on forever. Ask me a different.
No, that's good. Um, I would just finally ask, like, is there anything that you think that we left out? Anything that we should touch on that is important to you?
I think it's important that our viewers understand that they are not, in fact, bad people. They may be doing bad things. They may have done bad things. But you are not a bad person because your great a million times removed grandfather ate a fruit and your mom his wife talked him into it because a snake got pissy. Uh, you aren't a bad person. You're trying your best. I can't say that you're good because I don't know you. But if you're
That's
trying
close.
your best to, make a better world for yourself and others, and you aren't going out of your way to harm anybody, and you're not, uh, and you're trying to identify the places in which you're placidly harming people, you're not a bad person. You're trying your best to be good. Uh, and I think that's an important thing for people to realize.
That's good. I like that a lot. Okay, awesome. Well, Tracy, thank you very much. We spent a lot of time working out how to make this work today. So you gave us a lot of time today. Thank you all for watching. If you want to learn about me, check our channel. There's another video where Tracy did the same exact thing, but to me. And stick around for more videos in the future. Take care.